Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over an Omega Seamaster. Technically, it's an Aqua Terra, a 150 meter master coaxial chronometer in 41.5 millimeter case. Reference number 231.10.42.21.01.006. I'll be going over the case, dial, what there is of a bezel, the crown functions, as well as the movement and the bracelet, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on all of these throughout the video. Alright, so starting off, we have the Aqua Terra. This one is in a black dial. There are other variations which also have a white dial and blue dial as well, all retailing about the 6K range. Alright, all of them have what you see here in terms of the hour markers and the hands, all made in 18 karat rose gold, right? And the same sort of pattern on the dial. You just have a different color of the dial, right? So starting off with the case, we have a 41.5 millimeter case in diameter, I believe. Yes, 41.5 millimeters in diameter from finger to thumb. We also have a nice satin brush finishing along the sides with the first bevel being a high polish, as well as the front of the case being a satin brush finishing as well. We have an alternating sort of finishing look here because the very front we have the bezel, a high polish domed steel bezel all the way around, holding in this sapphire crystal, a domed crystal as well. All right, with the satin brush finishing on the front of the case, high polish, satin brush finishing on the side, all right, with the winding crown as well, right? And looking onto the back here, we have the exhibition style case back, open on the back, and we also have what's all this info here. The 15,000 Gauss. The Aqua Terra is resistant to 15,000 Gauss. It is water resistant down to 150 meters or 500 feet below sea level. SI14, meaning it's made with a silicon balance spring, right? So that means that you can basically, it goes with the 15,000 Gauss magnetic resistance, meaning that it's basically an anti-magnetic watch, anti-magnetic movement rather. So you can get relatively close to literally any magnet and it'll be keeping track of time just fine. No need to, get it serviced. But anyway, more on that in a moment. This dial is a black dial. All right, so looking at the inside there, we have these sort of like wave-like patterns, what they call a transferred wave pattern, with 18 karat red gold hands and indices coated in white superluminova, all right, applied onto that dial. And speaking of that superluminova, we can just turn out the lights and take a look at how it works. And it works well, it does. Rather interestingly, we only have the minute hand, the sort of arrow tip on that minute hand glowing on that superluminova, while the entirety of that red, or the entirety of the hour hand rather, stays luminescent, with the tip of that seconds hand slowly sweeping across the periphery there. Okay, now turning the lights back on so we can actually see what's going on here. Looking at the hands here, if my camera will focus, look at the hands here, we have an interesting array of hands, all right? Because that hour hand is Dauphin style hand. Minute hand is a big arrow style hand. And the second hand is sort of like a combination, a hybrid of the two. More of an arrow style, but also has the, Dauphin sort of look for that counter weight of the side of that second hand, with a very long tip to really graze that periphery, with the sort of like index with every 5 minute or 5 second interval, all right, in all white there. All right, makes for a very interesting presentation, very easy to read as well on this black dial, probably the easiest. All right, now taking a look at how this crown works, it's a little bit different from what you'd expect. So the first position will allow you to wind the watch. Rather simple there, nothing new. All right, so just wind it clockwise, and once you start feeling resistance, that damping starting to ramp up, that's when you know you can stop because you've reached the total power reserve. Pull out to the next position, and you'll notice that there's no actual quick set of the date, but what you can do is actually move the hour hand. So it actually has sort of a GMT style function here, and it's actually not that much of an issue when you're adjusting the date, because you're only really going to be moving it forward every once in a while, usually on the 30th of a month, so you can skip past the 31st and directly to the 1st the next day. But what's interesting here is that you can actually set the hour hand to fit your current time zone. So in that respect, it works kind of like a GMT hand, or a GMT sort of function for a watch that doesn't really lend itself to being a GMT style watch. But if you travel through different time zones frequently, this could be a very good option for you, because it doesn't actually interrupt the pace of that second hand at all. Because typically what you would have to do is to pull out the crown all the way. It stops that second hand so that you can then adjust the minute hand for precise timekeeping. But if you are traveling, different time zones, you'll have to move that minute hand multiple times, and you will technically be losing time because you're stopping that second hand there. So it's a very good function in that regard, right? And here, having that hacking seconds allows you to set that minute hand precisely, pressing the crown back in and screwing it tightly against the case. We'll start at that seconds hand and keep that 150 meter water resistance. Very nice there. All right, so what allows all of this to work? It's the movement made in-house by Omega, the 8500 caliber, which has a free sprung balance, 2 barrels mounted in series, automatic winding. All right, so you see that winding rotor. It's bidirectional winding, so simply all you need to do is just wind the crown, and the simple movements of this watch on your wrist will keep it wound to its maximum power reserve of 60 hours. Very, very good for any sort of watch like this. The exhibition case back also allows you to really see that movement. It's very, very attractive with those Geneva waves in arabesque, or Côte de Genève, whatever you want to call it. You'll need a loop to really see all the fine and tiny details of this movement, and I'm zoomed in as far as I can go, so sorry, that's all you're gonna get. But if you see this with your naked eye, it will be so much more attractive. It's absolutely beautiful. You see all the jewels in there as well. All right, so when it comes to the framing of this watch, we have a bracelet, stainless steel, high polish down the center with a satin brush finishing along the outer edges, very much like the Rolex Oyster bracelet. All right, with a high polish along the sides there. But what's different here is that we have this sort of deployment, a double deployment clasp, which has an interesting way of working, because we have this double button deployment, which only opens one side. All right, it deploys the side with the Omega logo first, and then the buttons aren't really useful at all after that, because in order to unclasp the 6 o'clock side of the bracelet, you just simply pull it out. And if you'll look very, very closely, there's actually a tiny spring bar mechanism on the inside here, which actually pushes these little divots on the inside there, right? So it can actually hook in and hook out without actually needing any other sort of mechanism to fasten it or unfasten it. All right, and while we're here, I'll actually try it on, give you some more of my thoughts as to how it fits on the wrist. All right, so you typically fit one side first, and then the last side would be that with the logo. All right, keep in mind that it does clasp over this tiny little bit of the bracelet, so keep that in mind. Okay, now on the wrist, my wrist is 7 inches in circumference, so there's a little bit of space here. I can definitely take some links out, but this watch isn't for me, it's for you. All right, but on my wrist I get quite a bit of space under these lugs, and that's due to the case back. It's quite elevated off of my wrist here, and certainly that breathability of those lugs, it's not sticking out at all, so there's no risk of these lugs hitting anything like a chair or a door, refrigerator door, whatever. And with that spacing underneath these lugs, I get additional breathing. Not that there's any issue with that, because these links are actually quite far apart, and they don't they don't squish together to really, you know, pull out any arm hairs or really pinch my skin at all. So it works very nicely in that regard. That extra venting, always a good thing. These lugs do sort of curve downward, and thanks to that downward curve, this bracelet, you know, actually really doesn't flare outward at all. It sort of fits with the wrist very nicely, very form-fitting. All right, so an excellent choice. And with this, wow, if you actually have this sized to your wrist properly, it will hug the wrist nicely. But since I do have quite a bit of extra space here, and I don't have it sized specifically for me, it's a bit lopsided with that that double deployment clasp right there. But you know, if you have this sized for you, don't worry about that. That's a very small, if even non-issue. All right, but anyway, how it looks on the wrist, it's absolutely stunning actually, because I do like the sort of rose gold look on this black background, because this rose gold is sort of, it's a lot more subtle than yellow gold or, you know, any other, you know, white gold. It's got that subtlety that has it, you know, looking very elegant in certain situations. Well, just about any situation really, right? It looks very nice, and the way that everything just sort of reflects and plays in the light, very elegant, very distinguishing look overall. And I would say that this is much more of a formal wear watch, but you can wear this every day. Why? Because it's all stainless steel. You can wear this out anywhere, no one will think anything of it, and certainly you won't get robbed, but you certainly get that Omega overall value and the feel as well. And at a retail of $6K, you're getting a huge deal, a huge bargain on something that compares to something, say like a Datejust or even a Submariner, depending on how you look at it, from Rolex. So anyway, enough of what I think. What do you guys think about this watch? Let us know down in the comments below. And be sure to like this video and hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, visit our website, jazztime.com. Links in the description below, and we'll see you in the next one.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.